Good evening. Hope you enjoy the food, the photos, and the video. Traveling has always been something that I really enjoy. Exploring different places, seeing different people, experiencing different culture. You can really see how colorful this world is and how amazing our globe is. I have long yearned to visit India. In fact, the senior India trip was one of many factors that led me to choose Oak Grove School over other schools. So finally, here I am, after almost 4 years at Oak Grove, reflecting on my India trip experience. So the India trip was indeed quite different from any other trip I have been on. Instead of simply touring around and visiting attractions, this trip was a very immersive experience. It shows India in a different perspective from regular tourism, a perspective that is based on human connection, the essence of being a person. I had a great time talking to students at the three schools that we visited and enjoyed making new friends in a completely different and alien territory. However, the hospitality I have received and witnessed triggered me to think, to reflect on myself, my country, and my own culture. Despite my personal interest in India, as a student coming from China, India has a different, or I would say even a distorted image pre-installed in our brain. The way the Chinese perceive India is full of prejudices and biases. When I told my friends in China about my plan to go to India, they frequently questioned my decision. They think of India as an inferior country, a place they would never want to visit. And this impression has greatly influenced people's view on Indian people as a whole. But I don't believe in this. I don't believe in what people believe in just because they believe in. This added my desire to go to India. I want to see India with my own eyes to prove that they were wrong. Like Krishnamurti said, we must look most intimately and discover for ourselves. Then it is our own, not someone else's, not something that we have been told. A history teacher at Pashala reminded me the very origin of this problem with my culture. There was one day at lunch when he joined me and started a conversation on the lunch table. As our conversation progressed, he brought up a fact that I have almost forgotten. It wasn't until 19th century that Chinese people stopped calling everyone else barbarians. That is less than 200 years ago. And I hate to admit, but it's sadly true, that even now, many people in China still see themselves as superior to other ethnicities. And they have many different and negative biases and prejudices towards different racial groups. I couldn't stop thinking and imagining how Indian students would be treated if they had a chance to visit a school in China for a week. Because as I said, I'm well aware of how prejudiced Chinese people are. The little mind test always turns out with unfavorable results. And I cringe when I compare it to my experience at the schools. So on one bus ride out to Bangalore City, I had a chance to talk to Elsie, a faculty member at the Valley School. I asked her, how do people in India view Chinese people? What kind of attitude do Indians have towards China? Her answer was not surprising, but did make me feel bad. She said that Indian people have no hostilities against the Chinese people. Though there is political conflict, it has no relevance to what the people think. She was right. China and India have been long-time neighbors, neighbors forever indeed. The two civilizations have coexisted for thousands of years. But neighbors don't like each other all the time. Territorial conflicts have been a huge obstacle that have kept China and India from being better friends. Diplomatic relationships involving Pakistan and the US have simply added more flame to the already fiery relation. But the two countries, India and China, took very different approaches on this matter. In China, isolationism never disappeared. In addition, the modern-day Chinese government has put strict controls on the media, both social and journalistic. A highly censored social media and government-controlled news industries have led a biased public opinion on many things. Chinese media purposely patronizes India as an inferior country. India, on the contrary, according to Elsie, has a much more open media. Though there are conflicts on the government level, there is no propaganda against China, nor is the social media patronizing China as an inferior power. People can really see the reality through an open media. This difference made me realize how important an uncensored media source is. A highly controlled and censored media would only cause misapprehension and manipulate people's mind. With the worldwide trend of isolationists rising to power again, we must be aware of the possibility of the world moving towards closed and censored media. Even in America, there is a trend towards that. Net neutrality is a perfect indication of the possible media censoring. And we need to be well aware of it, to stand up to it, and to fight against it. By the end of the trip, I came to the conclusion that things need to be changed back home in China. I realized that my perspective of my own country has changed, being outside of it. There's too many misconceptions in China. Krishnamurti once said, "We are very defensive and therefore we're aggressive when we hold on to a particular belief, a dogma, or when we worship our particular nationality. We need to be more receptive towards other cultures." When we were at Pashala, we had a few discussion sessions with the local students. In one part, they specifically addressed a few questions to me about agriculture and rice production in China. During our conversation, I brought up the idea of a joint research force on rice production between China and India. Because imagine the two countries with the world's largest populations, making up almost 1/3 of the total world population, both having rice as their main dietary consumption, could work together to increase the quality and quantity of rice production. It would be a blessing to the world. So when I brought up this idea, I saw accord and eagerness in their eyes. That's when I realized it's us Chinese that need to make a change, to open up our minds and to be more receptive to new possibilities. I feel more than ever that it's our responsibilities, it's our generation's responsibility to bring unity to the world, to become global citizens no matter how messed up our world is today. Sometimes it's inevitable that we have a few setbacks along the way towards world integration. But it doesn't matter because the future is in our hands, and I have confidence that together we can make the world a better place. Thank you.